Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome back to Raising Them Simply. Here we share all about our secular homeschool as a family of 5. And today we're going to do a flip through and review of Adventures Through America from the Little School of Smiths. I was reviewing my channel recently and I realized that I did a review of the first part of their early America history, and I haven't done this one yet. We are just about done wrapping up with this. So I'm going to give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions at the end of this video and what we liked or did not like about this curriculum. So I'm going to go ahead, flip the camera around and show you a flip through of this by the Little School of Smiths. So this is Adventures Through America, Early American History for Elementary Grades by Little School of Smiths. She has 2 different bundles. So this is the second one that she has. It is a PDF curriculum, so you would have to print it off yourself. And then you can either stick it in a 3-ring binder or bind it yourself. It was just easier for me to divide it out this way, so that is what I did for this. Now, for copyright reasons and privacy respecting the creator, Little School of Smiths, I'm not going to show you every single page, but I'm going to give you a brief overview as to what this curriculum entails. We're going to talk about American Revolution, Lewis and Clark, the Oregon Trail, and the Civil War. And these are the required books. So for American Revolution, you are going to You Wouldn't Want to Be at the Boston Tea Party. She uses all of those books for her units, which my son really enjoys. And then DK Eyewitness, American Revolution. Lewis and Clark, You Wouldn't Want to Explore with Lewis and Clark, and then another DK Eyewitness book. You Wouldn't Want to Be an American Pioneer for the Oregon Trail, and then Daily Life in a Covered Wagon. And for Civil War, you're going to do You Wouldn't Want to Be a Civil War Soldier and DK Eyewitness, the Civil War. Okay, so she's going to talk about your spines, which are those books that we already went into. And then I really appreciated how she separated these out. So we've got nonfiction books, picture books, and read aloud chapter books, especially if you have a family with multiple children. I believe she has 4 kids that are all in different age groups. I really appreciated how she separated this out. So if I wanted to involve my preschooler or kindergartner with this, I could do picture books for them. I could do some nonfiction maybe for an older learner who is going to read through it themselves and maybe give me a synopsis of what they read. And then we've got read alouds that you could go along and read for all of your kids as well, unless you had a older learner who could read through it. And then she did age ranges. So this I also really appreciated because as you know, some of these topics need to be handled differently depending on the age of the child. And so she does the different age ranges for these books, which I really appreciated, because in other curriculum, when you go to pick it out, you go, oh, you know, this is a little too mature for my learner. So I really appreciated that she did that. And then she does a supply list and what weeks you needed them, which is really helpful so that you know when you need those supplies by. Okay, so for week 1, we're going to talk about taxation without representation. And then it divides it out between different lessons. Some of these weeks are 3 or 4 weeks, or 3 or 4 days usually. Every once in a while she has a 5th day thrown in there, but these are in very easy digestible sections. And then she kind of explains what pages you need to read and if there are any additional videos or such to go through with for that lesson. And then for this section, she did a tea-dyed paper. We didn't do some of these activities, but I did appreciate the activities that we did do. A lot of things that we did to help supplement this is we actually watched Liberty Kids on YouTube. All of the videos are for free on YouTube. I loved that show growing up, and my son absolutely loved it. So we did a lot more of that stuff for this unit. We've got a quill pen craft, so they could kind of see what it was like for them to write. And then week 2, we've got the Boston Tea Party. So like I said, every once in a while there's a 5th day, but these are actually really easy to squish together. So maybe you want to keep on the schedule that she has, but you want to do history 2 days a week, you can easily group these together, and it's still pretty digestible for your learner. This is one activity that we actually did do that my son loved. It's a tea in the sea science experiment. And so it talks about how you need 2 different clear glasses, salt, 2 crayons, a tea bag, and water. And then you're gonna see what the temperature and how that affects whether things float or sink in the water. And then thumbprint cookies, which this was actually really good. We did do this activity. And then week 3, we've got the American Revolution, a little activity of George Washington. We've got George's art project and tin can lanterns. And then week 4 for the Declaration of Independence. One thing that I found helpful in this curriculum is I divided them out for each unit, and then I had these divider pages with the little pocket. So anything that was printed off that went to an activity, I was able to stick in here, so I didn't have to reprint it or damage it by punching holes in. So there's just a little idea for you. And then we've got the Adventures Through America for Lewis and Clark. Again, we've got book lists separated just like it was in the previous unit. Your supply lists and when you needed them by. And then we talk about the Louisiana Purchase. So I'll show you this week, and then we'll skip over to the next unit. My son loved this. This is actually a great activity if you have another adult helping so that they can kind of get involved. My husband did this salt dough United States map activity with my son while I was at work, and they had a blast together. So you are just going to take a piece of cardboard, you're going to create a salt dough, you're going to put it in the map in the shape of the United States, and then you're going to use this as an interactive map as you learn about Lewis and Clark. And then there's little pieces of paper that you would use for tabs to mark along the map for where they were and the different checkpoints that Lewis and Clark went to. Next, we have Adventures Through America, the Oregon Trail. And then again, we've got the book list with the spines at the top. When we did this unit, we actually started reading Little House in the Big Woods and then the Little House on the Prairie, which really helped solidify learning for this. So we actually didn't do a lot of these extra books. We just read those because we already had them. In Minnesota, where we live, we actually live fairly close to Lake Pepin as well as Walnut Grove in Minnesota. Or I should say it can be a day trip for us to go there. So we also went to those places, and it really helped kind of connect the dots for my learner. So there's another idea for you if you have an option like that near you. And then we've got the supply list for this as well. Okay, so for week 1, we're going to talk about Manifest Destiny. And then again, you have everything that you do those days and the different activities, if there are any. And then this was a cool one that my son did to build a covered wagon. We also had a wagon that we could do for our journal. And this was a really fun game that I thought was pretty cool along the trail game. So there, on different days of this unit, it would tell you to do different things. So for example, the first checkpoint for, you're going to go hunting at Fort Laramie. So there were different animals that you could cut out and tape onto the wall. There's different food carts that they had to turn into you, and they had to go hunting where they could use like a Nerf gun or roll up some aluminum foil or something like that, and they had to try to throw or hit those animals to try to get their game for food. So this was a really cool interactive game. My son had a blast with it, and it really did help with his learning as well. Okay, and lastly, we have the Civil War unit. Again, we have our book list here. And then our supply list. Okay, so we're going to talk about Abraham Lincoln and the succession. And then again, it's divided out, and then there's some additional crafts. I really like how she tries to find cute little snacks and stuff to do for the kids, so that you could make something and then read a book, and then they could eat that while they would listen. So this one's talking about how Abraham Lincoln was 6'4", and he loved to stand out even more by wearing high top hats. So Lincoln was known to store papers for speeches inside his hat. We're going to create our own top hats as a tasty treat while you read together about Abraham Lincoln's life and presidency. And we've got a paper plate Lincoln craft. I'm not sure if, depending on your ages, you may not know, but PBS also has a show called Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum. And they have a lot of shows that go over these topics as well, where these kids' parents own a museum and they use those artifacts to go back in time and meet those famous people when they are children. And it's a really cute show. There's one on Abraham Lincoln that my son watched, and he really enjoyed that. And then we've got a Civil War timeline. And that is Adventures Through America from Little School of Smiths. There you have it, guys. That was the curriculum from Little School of Smiths. Overall, we really did enjoy it. There were some stuff that we did not do as part of this curriculum, like I had mentioned, but I felt like it didn't lose any of the stuff in it. My son still learned really well, even though we didn't do all of the different activities and stuff in here. I will say, I'm not sure if it has to do more with the fact that maybe they had some more supplies in this one that we didn't have lying around, so we just didn't do it. But my son did say he enjoyed the first half of this history with specifically the Vikings more than he liked this one. He still talks about making the Viking hats and the little Viking face activities and stuff from that curriculum. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below for you guys so you can go and check it out. But I think that had to do also with kind of circumstances. We had our youngest child right around that same unit, and I was home all the time, and I was able to put more energy into those activities, so that could have had something to do with it as well. But like I said, overall, we really did enjoy this American history. We honestly are probably going to use this again in the future when my kids are a little bit older, when they can grasp a little bit more. We do typically do Build Your Library, but I really enjoyed this as well. So I think we're going to try to incorporate this at some point somehow into our schooling, because my son really, really did enjoy it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of videos you like on this channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you use this curriculum or what you plan on doing for next year. I would love to know. Please hit that subscribe button. It is a free way for you to be notified of future videos, and it helps support my channel, and I can't wait to get you guys next time. Bye.